Hello. Today I want to talk about COVID-19, the virus, and how to protect yourself. If you haven't had the vaccination, or even if you had the vaccination, uh, all the doctors in the world, they recommend for you to use a mask. And this is the mask I have. It's two layers, and I think it's cotton. So it's something simple. If you don't want to use anything like that, you could probably get something that is more official, more certified, and you can ask around and see what you can get. But anyway, you definitely need a mask. And what I see people do, they use it as an ornament. I mean, they put it around their necks, or they they cover their mouth, but they forget about the nose. So we have to cover the nose. Just remember that any place that the air goes in, you need to cover. That's including, pardon, that includes your mouth and your nose. Now, technically, or there's a probability that the virus could transfer by, I guess, touching your eyes, because your hands are probably the dirtiest parts of your body that comes into contact with the virus or different viruses. So when you go home, you really need to wash your hands really thoroughly and with a soap. Having said that, there's also a need for a face shield. Now, face shield will not prevent the virus from coming into contact with your face. All it does is that if somebody near you sneezes or coughs, the particles will not directly affect your face. They will not directly land on your face. But because viruses are such small particles, we know they're suspended in the air. Uh, if you had any early education in biology, like I had in my elementary school, I knew that there are particles called bacteria and viruses. And viruses basically are so small, are smaller than bacteria. So if you look, uh, when there's a sunny day and you basically look up, you see the dust just flying and suspended. The small particles are suspended in the air, and you can clearly see it in your room if it's sunny, if the light is shining through your windows. Having said that, virus is being so much smaller, they're suspended in the air. So you don't really need a doctor to tell you what to do. So basically, face shield, remember, is for someone in near vicinity that may cough, may sneeze, and they may not even have a mask. Will the mask and the face shield protect you 100%? Of course not. I mean, that's not possible. The other thing is that you never want to touch your eyes, you never want to rub your face, and when you go home, you wash your hands with soap. Having said that, as far as vaccination is concerned, I've been reading on it for God knows how long now, and every one of them has a problem. The problem is, I mean, so rare, but still there. Like that AstraZeneca, they say that causes blood clots in some people, and the problem with that is that you don't know when that's going to happen. You may survive the first few weeks, and then maybe eventually later uh, something could happen. Uh, Based on the technology of vaccination and not being a doctor but studying it thoroughly, I feel comfortable with the Chinese, with something that uses the dead virus, or they weaken it in the laboratory, and that's an old technology. The new technology of Pfizer and Pharma, and even the Russian one that's supposed to be good, has supposed to be 92%. They deal with DNA, and it goes into your cells, so it gets complicated, and that's the new technology. Uh, has it been proven? Well, to some extent in the studies, but over the years, over the last 100 years, or I don't know when they started using vaccination. I think it's maybe 100 years. I don't know, but anyway, all the vaccinations, or most of them, at least, they're based on uh, using the dead virus, and then your body reacts thinking that this is the live virus. It's like a drill for fire. If you have a drill at school, they don't set the school on fire, but you just go through the motion, okay? And basically, this is what they do. They put the dead virus, or they weakened it in the laboratory environment, and then when they give you the first injection, your body starts reacting. And if you don't have any allergy the first few days, then you start developing antibodies in your blood system, and those are basically the white cells and the other cells that deal with that. And red, excluding red cells, which is for, I guess, attaching themselves to oxygen. But at any case, when you have these in your body, and the next shot maybe in a few weeks, I don't know, depending on the vaccination, the type of the vaccination, you get that maybe with the Chinese is 4 weeks later, and then you get the second shot. After the second shot, you still have to wait. And you have to always remember that this is a virus from the family of the cold viruses. And cold viruses alone, I think, has hundreds, I don't know how many exactly, but lots of different types of viruses. That's why there is no vaccination against common cold. And common cold is not really big danger. I remember I had the flu shot. Most years that I had the flu shot, I never got sick. I didn't even catch cold. But one time I had a flu shot overseas, and I came home, and I think a day after I really had a bad cold or the flu that was really, really terrible. And it took some time to get better. Well, so this is from the same family. So remember, this doesn't give you 100% protection. But even after you get the vaccination, you still have to cover your mouth, cover your nose. Now, for some unfortunate reason, and I think because of the animosity between the Republicans and the Democrats, in my hometown, in my home country, uh, this issue has to come to be a political issue, which has nothing to do with it. But it's like, I think, Oliver's Travels. If you read that book I think by Jonathan Swift, um, the two countries that never had any problems, they had to find problems to fight a war. And I guess Gulliver, I guess I said Oliver, but Gulliver discovered that the problem is that they're discussing how to break or open or take the shell off an egg in the morning or whenever they boil it. One country said from the bottom, one country said from the top, and they were fighting over that. So that's how ridiculous it is to make this a political issue. If you had any education, even just elementary school, you know that viruses travel. The viruses and the bacteria that is in the air is suspended in the air, and depending on the type of the virus, they can survive maybe from few hours to many days. And the same thing was, I guess we were afraid of the AIDS. But just mind you that this doesn't give you 100% protection, but it probably gives you 70 to 80% protection. The rest of it is common sense. You don't want to get too close to the people. You don't want to shake hands. And there are other things that random, I guess, casual loving someone maybe is out of the question, because not only for the other diseases, but mainly for this COVID that I think if you intimately get close to someone, you may catch it. So remember, you need a mask even after the vaccination. And this is a virus that is not going anywhere. And this is a virus that maybe after the second shot, you may still need a booster shot. And it gives you a coverage of maybe 60 to 80 to 90%. But from whatever I've read, unless they're not telling us the truth, all over the world, the people who got any kind of vaccination, regardless of the type, Chinese, Russian, American, they did not die. They may catch the virus again. As I said before, I guess you can catch it, but you will not end up in a hospital, and that's a big deal. Thank you so much, and I hope you find it useful.